how can we sell the cheapest possible ingredients that people want to eat as much as possible of and buy as much as possible of. That's the formula to increase profit. And unfortunately, that's also the formula for creating an epidemic of obesity and diabetes in the world. And that's what's happened. So I think there is no big secret here. It's just our science has improved, and we have learned how to create foods that are very cheap to produce, and that what people want to eat as enormous amounts of, and it's just very, very rewarding to eat, and people basically can't stop eating it, and profits for the food industry is up, and then people get obese and diabetic and heart disease and cancer and dementia, and then they need lots of medications every day, and then it's good for the pharmaceutical industry too. So everybody profits, but people pay the price with poor health.
Absolutely. And that cost is tremendous. I mean,
Enormous.
The cost, the burden on society, it's everything.
Enormous.
And it destroys people's lives. It's, unfulfilled dreams and a world of regret at the end because they've been so anchored in food or chasing body composition or chasing poor health. It is devastating. I certainly had that experience when I was doing my fellowship in geriatrics. It is so above and beyond the profit, the impact to the world. It's just tremendous.
Exactly. I really think that there is, but you can think of it if you're an entrepreneur and an optimist. I guess we both are. In some sense, you start thinking, "Wow, what an opportunity to do something meaningful here." It's really fantastic in a way, because this, to me, seems like the biggest health problem in the world. And if we together could find a way to just reduce it by half, then, like you said, I think there would be an enormous release of human potential, happiness, productivity, fulfilled dreams. That would be amazing, really.
Well, we're doing it. We're doing it.
Trying.
We're on track. Do you think that the low carb, keto, all these different diets have failed, and that's why you decided to create the satiety index?
No, I don't think it's failed. I think that all diets tend to work for people who can imagine doing it for the long term. I mean, clearly, a low-carb diet is quite effective for lots of people. As long as people want to do it, it works. But people can go on other kinds of diets and get a good effect as well. I think actually a strict low-carb keto diet may have some benefits that other diets don't have. They tend to lead to loss of a few pounds of fluid, for example, in the first few days. That is pretty good for people's motivation, which this is not something you get from any other diet. So I wonder if that's actually one of the reasons why it is as popular as it is, because you get a more rapid effect. But that aside, I think there are many diets that can work, and I think the low carb and keto approach, solid option with a lot of good evidence behind. I certainly support it. And if people want to go on a low carb diet, our website Diet Doctor and our app, we try to make it simple. It's free to start out. So we're gonna keep doing that. But I do believe that there is the potential now to create something more innovative, more flexible, that could fit more people for longer, and potentially also help people on various diets, including low carb, to break through plateaus and get a more more effective version of, for example, low carb. So that's what we're building. We launched a website called hava.co. We're building an app for that. I'm quite excited. I think this might be something special.
It's really interesting because on one hand, I suppose you could just say, well, satiety is going to increase if you're just eating whole foods. But as you had mentioned, the whole foods that we choose may or may not be as satiating as a different food, whether it's a stick of butter or a large pineapple. And the overarching statement to say, well, just eat more whole foods without thinking that those foods have varying degrees of satiation to then limit hunger and to limit overeating, basically is what you've done is you've put it into some kind of context.
Yeah, I mean, I think this idea of whole foods and ultra-processed foods has a lot of merit and it's very helpful. But I think that it also gets rightfully criticized for being an imperfect division, very binary and quite imperfect. Like there are examples of whole foods that may not be great for various purposes, and there are examples of ultra-processed foods that could be great. I also think that it's highly unlikely that we'll ever get to a world where nobody is eating any ultra-processed foods, and therefore, because it's convenient, it's cheap, it's tasty, and it's very available, right? It's the majority of what people eat today. So to just remove it completely, that's a huge change. And because of the benefits of it, I don't see that happening. So I actually think that a benefit of this satiety approach is that we can also get away from this kind of binary and imperfect division into whole foods and ultra-processed foods, and instead look a little bit more at the scale, at the big variety of foods. Like you can imagine, some ultra-processed foods are dreadful, some are just slightly bad, and some are actually quite okay. Maybe we can help people find less bad ultra-processed foods. And within this whole foods area, also, depending on what goals people have, you can find more effective whole foods for them. So, for example, and this may be controversial, but butter is relatively unprocessed, but it's also pretty low in protein, very low in fiber. There's no fiber, very energy dense, and it can easily be combined with higher carb ingredients to make something very palatable. So it's not, and something else, perhaps like nuts, macadamia nuts, for example, not so processed, right? Pretty unprocessed. But if you want to lose weight, it may not be the most effective thing. It's pretty low protein, again, very energy dense, etc. If you add salt to it, it's relatively rewarding and tends to drive eating. So again, all unprocessed foods are not perfect. And on the other end of things, ultra-processed foods, you can imagine something like a whey protein powder with additives in it. Highly ultra-processed food, but for people who want to lose body fat and improve their body composition, build muscle, it can probably be quite good for that purpose. Ultra-processed, yes, but highly nutritious and very, very low in pure energy